I'll be doing my best impression of RFK Jr. the entire podcast. This is only a slight exaggeration of what I actually sound like right now.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Okay. I reiterate the notion of, are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay.
You got to understand, I'm dedicated to this podcast shit, man. I care. You're talking about this, you're like, oh, are you sure you want to do this? I'm just doing a cold open, brother. It's a real cold open because I have a cold.
This is true, actually. Yes.
It's a cold open. That's the opening to the podcast, is me getting up to this joke, explaining it 4 or 5 times. And then you just static screen. Still an amazing Techno-Organic Virus variant you got there. Is that what I have, do you think?
Yeah, it's the one from the Super Premium Season Pass.
Oh, but no, I mean, do you think that what I have is the Techno-Organic Virus? Do you think that's what's happening inside me right now? Is my voice box slowly changing to metal, and that's why I sound like this? This is where I think I launch into a second RFK Jr. impression. It really brings us full circle on this whole bit if I just try to make my voice sound like a bucket of rusty nails here. So I caught the Techno-Organic Virus from drinking raw milk.
It ended a little bit of a...
I feel like I verged into Bane a little.
No, it was a little. Right. It's a little Jimmy Stewart at the end there. Yeah. A little milk. Yeah. Bane, that's all you got to take the lid off your cup to start getting a little, right? A little Banish has to talk into the cup. You got to get a metal can or a coffee can.
No one cared who I was until I endorsed Donald Trump.
There's great interviews of him explaining the origins of that impression, and I have a feeling you're the kind of person that I've already seen them.
I am very familiar with. Did you know that they had to cut out his original dialogue an 80-yard in because it was too unintelligible? And so what they put in the movie is the good version of what Bane sounds like. It's the one that's easy to understand
comparatively versus the original.
It's
boxer.
Whatever the original was just Tom Hardy screaming at the top of his lungs into a 2009 Kanye West auto-tune box. That's probably what it was originally. You got the T-Pain filter on there.
I know,
that was pretty good, man. I should stop being surprised when you do musical stuff after the conversation we had last time. That was nice with it.
No, that's literally oh my God, I forget the guy's name. The voice actor who does SpongeBob. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but that's how he does the SpongeBob laugh. Is he just takes his hand and literally moves it on the voice box. He goes, bah! But he does it all the way up at that super higher register. I feel like you don't lean into this.
I feel like you don't lean into this talent enough.
I mean, I have redemptions on my stream that are Stitch time, Mad Hatter time, Mickey time. I kind of
don't know.
Do-ish.
I feel like you should do an improv show. We gotta get you on. We gotta get you on Dropout, buddy. We gotta get you on Make Some Noise.
I mean, I tagged him recently because they called us out.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I saw the podcast. I was actually just watching that episode. I forgot that you tagged me in that clip, but yeah, no, I was just watching the episode. It's really good. Shout out Kimia Bepornia. Really, really funny in that episode. You got robbed. Jacob Wysocki should not have won that episode. You got robbed, Kimia.
I mean, it's one of those things where watching the evolution of college humor and then Dropout and even the writing in between, and it's just oh my God, Taxi, don't do that, as he's about to be a kamikaze dog. It's his favorite thing to do recently when he needs to try to get out of here. He just goes, I'm free.
But you don't let him? My cats do that. Is he like,
He's a dachshund.
what do you think, he's incapable? What do you think?
Yes.
You think he's an idiot? You think he would jump off somewhere and not understand where he's going to land? That's insane. A dog would never.
That's where he's very shortcominged in this moment, where he'll go for it saying, I'm going to jump and land here. That. It is a new word, because all of a sudden he'll go for it and then realize that he's on a blanket on my lap. So his leverage projection is very off. And then he'll just like, and it'll land like on the edge of my green screen. I'm not worried about the green screen.
You can't say that because it's like a slur for dachshunds, you know? You can't call him shortcoming. Like, come on, dude. That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's literally what he was bred for, was to be short.
You can't call people that, man. You can't. It's the big 26. You can't do that anymore.
You're shortcoming.
Oh.
It's not even a word.
Oh. Yeah, we eradicated it from the dictionary a while ago to stop this exact situation from happening. Like, oh man.
I just know that he's in panic mode and stress mode because we got another dog on Saturday.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I had to decipher your hieroglyphics. You made that emoji ass post on Twitter, and I was like, "Is he having another kid? I don't understand what's happening." I saw the post. I was like, staring at it for an extended period of time.
It's the longest you've looked at.
Yes.
It's like there's rankings of how long do I stare at this content on X. There's AI fruit slop, and then there's my hieroglyphics secondarily.
The hieroglyphics really help. Yeah, I had this conversation with someone the other day. I think we should start putting emojis on cards. I think
I'm going to let you elaborate first before I start laughing. Go on.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. So we were talking about how long Deadpool Diner text is. How much quicker would Deadpool Diner? How many more characters could you fit in if you replaced destroy with like an emoji of the skull and crossbones, but it's Deadpool's face? You could fit so many more words on those locations that definitely do not have enough space for you to put the right thing that they do on there.
And then
all you need
add the tooltip of just tooltips, skull and crossbones equals destroy.
Yes. Solved. They got to level up. They got to level this up. To be clear, I don't think I need to do this in every game mode, but Deadpool's Diner is uniquely A, goofy, and B, full of locations that are extremely wordy for some fucking reason.
You are 100% correct on that. Yes.
And the overlap there does suggest that you should be emojiing some of this shit.
Yeah. What's even more annoying with it is it's like a comedian who has to explain the joke. That's what the locations feel like. They have to make sure you fully get it.
I think that's actually, not to like diss my guy Deadpool here, but I kind of think that's on brand. Like Deadpool, I think a lot of his humor is similar to mine, where it's like you have the joke and then some of the joke comes from this isn't funny anymore. And then you doing it becomes a commentary on that. You're just like,
yeah, that's a brand piece for you. Very much so. How much can you lean into yourself with this awful, all the juggling. Yeah. Something around like 78s or whatever those are called nowadays. But
it was like a 78.
Yeah. That's when the older generations try to 67. We're just 78ing. That's all we do.
Calling it 67 is enough, man. Like, I think you already hit it.
Is that why my back hurts?
I turned 67 last year.
See, and that evolved a little bit into a Jon Stewart bit right there. Like,
I do think that, like, if you trace my persona back, a pretty decent amount of it is Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, a lot of your humor and delivery is so.
Yeah, I think a pretty reasonable amount of it is. And I would do Colbert, but I'm not sure I can trust people to get the joke. So I try sometimes, and sometimes people take
Rapport, or late night Colbert, because they're very different.
I don't watch late night Colbert. I don't watch any late night show really, but yeah, when he was good, not when he is currently doing whatever it is he was doing. I am not nostalgic for 2015. That's not how this works.
You know what is nostalgic for 2015? Black Bolt, because that's how long it's been. It feels like since Black Bolt was relevant. You like that segue there? You like that?
That was good.
I was doing. I was really digging to find some kind of segue into talking about cards.
Speaking of really, they're really digging to find cards to give +1 points of power to that won't do anything.
I know. My God. Yeah. Let's
a lot of those. You know, start with the headliner here, Bucky Barnes.
I was already clicking it, man. I'm switching up right now because when I think of all the cards that needed to be getting a buff, Bucky Barnes every time. That's what it's gonna be.
I got a challenge for you. Name 1 point of power in this entire game that matters less than this one. Just like pick any card and be like, I will give this +1 power. Find one that matters less. That's my challenge.
Ooh. I'm going to cheat and say Deafening Chord.
If Deafening Chord had -1 power on it, it would be good.
No. That was in the ability. I'm just saying, like, it's a skill. It's going to disappear.
Like, I'm not even going to give you that
It's going to disappear.
I'm not giving you that cheat. Like, I think I need a real answer from you here.
All right.
I came up with one, and I'm really not even sure.
Morph.
That's, it's like Taskmaster. You're still cheating, but I'll allow it. The one I came up with was the Infinaut.
Are you trying to piss Ken off, Mr. Super Tech God?
Just saying. I think if that went to 21 power, it would change nothing. And this is just math, right? Like, it's the large. I picked the largest number, so the smallest change to it will matter the least, right? I was just doing some math. I'm not gonna say my answer isn't also hacky, right?
Yeah.
But like, it really is hard to imagine a change to a card that matters less than this. Not that it's not that it's wrong for them to do this, but just like, I genuinely don't know what would be a change that is less impactful than Bucky Barnes 2 power.
It's true.
It's hard.
Like, you could try to justify it and say a little bit of prio, and maybe you get something in Venom and Null, and there's a little bit. I'm sorry.
It's like all that stuff is real. It's just like a point of power on any other card. It's more real. That's all.
Yeah. It's more relevant. It's more effective. This was out of every destroy card. Like, it would have been more effective to put it onto Sabretooth.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
A card that is probably played less than Bucky Barnes.
Yep.
And that would have made it more relevant because Bucky, I think, only really sees play in Dormammu nowadays. Like, that's it. Yeah. Maybe Destroyer. Maybe.
It's going to be really relevant for that Destroyer bot that always plays the Bucky in the armor lane.
Oh, shit. They're buffing bots.
It's such a buff, dude.
Oh, my God.
Hugely relevant change here. This is going to drastically decrease the amount of players getting to infinite, actually.
Yeah. All jokes aside, though, as much as this did not matter, you think of like the 1 points up and down kind of a thing. I do want to talk about the Black Bolt one, because Black Bolt, the way I kind of was looking at this one was obviously, Black Bolt had its real rise with the whole Darkhawk mixed package. That was a very 2023, early 2024 style of deck. And it was Black Bolt Stature, and you could play it with another
to be clear,
style.
Pretty much entirely located in April 2023. To be clear, this card's heyday was, let's say, April to June.
It got a little but it got a little bit of a revive when Fenris Wolf came out. It had a little bit of a revive for a little while, and then they nerfed it into the ground and they made Fenris Wolf a 3 cost, and everybody said, okay, thanks, bye. And that made me really sad because I love the variant that I have. I love the Crooner Black Bolt, and I want to play that card because of that variant, not because the card was, amazing. But what? Why are you looking at me that way?
Oh, I'm conditioned that when anyone says a word that sort of sounds like Gooner or Coomer or any of the ER ending Wojak type of words, what I think of is like a variant of that meme that would be like, oh my God, I'm crooning. Like that is sort of where my brain goes there. And that look was directed it entirely at the two people in our audience whose brain went the similar direction. And not at you who, you're much too adult to think in terms like that. But I'm fooming, et cetera, et cetera. Pretty much any time something fits into that framework, the first thing I think of is a Wojak of them doing a soy face and yelling that thing. So long story short, I should be the art designer for Second Dinner, and then we'd have that variant.
I really have not felt older in this podcast than I have in this episode. You can just call me Mr. 67 at this
Mr.
point between that,
yeah.
at that combo of Jesus. Anyway, Black Bolt. I am worried if they also buff stature at some point. That's the only time I'm really going to be worried about this card, because then it's like, okay, they brought it back to what it fully was. And as much as I've called for it in the past, to me, I found it funny because I watched your OTA video and we had a lot of very similar thoughts about certain cards, and Black Bolt was very much one of them, where we both felt like if this card gets too strong, it's really scary because it makes Marvel Snap suck.
I just want to point out, Glenn Jones leaves Second Dinner, and the first patch they buff Black Bolt and Hela. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't even need to say anything else.
Yeah,
I think
keep shitting on the company that you want to hire you. Really, that's
we all know what that means.
It's the best way to get a job. I'm telling you right now.
That is the entirety of my strategy. Yes.
Yes.
No, I think. Again, largely my take on this was, man, he must be doggy ass, because for them to take the risk of actually making him better is like, you just do that unless you look at his win rate and you're like 42%. Like, still do this is like wildly unplayable. That said, it's not really Black Bolt's fault. He's only problematic when you hit a certain density of disruption. Like,
I know what you mean.
It's not like Black Bolt himself is going to do this. It's going to be like other stuff. And then Black Bolt is also discarding a card, and suddenly you just have nothing to do, and it sucks. And it's a factory of 1 cubes. And it's like, basically just going to be like playing a clog game, but slightly less predetermined. So nobody ever stays, and it's blah, 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 blah. All the problems that people have with these kind of disruptive shells. What's interesting to me is, you get a lot of people talking about like how the meta sucks. It's like, oh, Sholau, Star-Lord, and then like you actually get to playing, and it's like, yeah, I mean, those decks are good, but you can kind of play a lot of mid-rangey disruptive bullshit and just like try to scam them out and then retreat when you don't, and then win big when you do. It's like tangentially related. Are people aware that Shang-Chi beats Star-Lord? Do they know that? Because, like, the turn they play as Star-Lord, you're never not going to have priority. So you just Shang-Chi the Star-Lord before they can Zola it. You know how people used to play Cosmic Ghost Rider on the Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Now, what if it was dead? What if it died?
Yeah.
Like, there's just stuff out there where it's like,
poop.
I really don't know. Like, obviously, Sholau, I think, is great to the level that high level players think he is, but like Star-Lord especially, he's not on fraud watch per se for me, but I do think he's a little bit like, people are not interacting with that deck properly.
No,
like, I think there's
will
a little bit of
100% agree. 100% agree with you there. But I'm so looking at this OTA, I can foresee a 6-month progression in Marvel Snap already happening. I can predict the meta 6 months from now based on
Nostradamus.
Yeah. Well, hear me out.
Hit me.
So here's what I think ends up happening. Very similar, because you're on the right path with what I also see too when it comes to the world of Shang-Chi. I think the more meaningful buff within all of this is actually Odin. Now, hear me out. Odin specifically for me was a card that I was like, okay, it's a power. Okay, Odin does the crazy combo stuff, sure. But there's a deeper conversation to be had about Odin. Him going from 9 to 10. That conversation, Mr. Eyebrows, is something that I foresee being the full, okay, you know what? This is the world we live in moment. This is the devs saying, we are no longer scared of making cards at 10 power for Shang-Chi purposes.
I will push back and say I don't think they really were in the first place. That was a thing the community made up. The community made that up. I remember
Glenn's on record for that.
Glenn's on record saying we don't ever make a card 10 power and have it get worse because Shang-Chi can hit it. Glenn is on record saying a card has never gotten additional power, even going from 9 to 10, and actually gotten worse, even in the height of Shang-Chi.
This is the moment where I decide if I'm actually going to put something in post edit to bring up either that one as well as the one that I'm thinking of, where he's talking about
both things.
same
but
things.
I know he said very specifically, like maybe when they're designing new cards, they are conscious of the restrictions tech cards provide. That's normal. But no card going to 10 power in an OTA. Shang-Chi has never been a restriction on that, even when he was good.
No, I disagree. Mockingbird was very much one of those reasons.
Mockingbird came out at 10 and was busted.
Right. And it had the counter, but people were saying, okay, well, this is a part of that deck that's okay-ish, but it's not a guaranteed counter. But the reason that they were saying that they might not bring it down was because it takes it out of Shang-Chi range. And then it was considered a buff when it went to 9 power because it's out of range.
I think that is...
Again,
considered a buff
Mockingbird back then
is the question. Okay. Yes.
So,
but like, I'm trying to remember Mockingbird. Did she go 5'9", 6'10", 6'9"? Is that what happened with her?
I want to say yes.
I think it was something like that. But
yeah,
either way, I do not believe that this represents a new way of thinking for them in a meaningful way. I think they were previously pretty unafraid to give a card a 10th power when it was at 9, even if it had less of an impact than that power would at any other point on the scale because of Shang-Chi. It's still an improvement, even if it's slightly more marginal.
I think the other thing that you might be forgetting just because it's been so long is when you access both Shang-Chi and Odin. The combination of both of those cards being accessible super early on and that interactivity between the two of them is something that is notable for newer players who are coming into the game as well. Because Odin is, I mean, you lean heavy into a lot of those decks in Series 1, Series 2, even depending on what you pull early on in Series 3. That can help dictate some of the beginning of your structures.
Would you say it's an interesting dynamic?
I would. So would KM, kinda. He would say it's an interesting dynamic simultaneously. Yeah. Yes. It's a very interesting dynamic.
It's the fascinating potential outcome.
Yes.
Yep.
But I honestly think that this is going to open the door to them being a little bit less scared about bringing cards up that are not lane winners. Because when I think lane winner, I think specifically like a Fin Fang Foom. That is a power meant to be a lane winner card.
Gore.
Cards that are
Iron Man.
Right. I think cards that are supposed to be the card that put you over the edge, like the single body big enough to win the lane on the final turn card just from points value. 9 versus 10, because of the existence of prior Shang-Chi versus current Shang-Chi, there is a relationship coinciding between decisions to do so or not from the development side, in my opinion. I think that Odin being the first one going from 9 to 10, I would not be surprised to see others start to get the same buff.
Like what?
Something like a Vision, for example.
Vision's a really interesting card, just from a lot of different angles, which is not a pun about, I'm pretty sure he is literally multifaceted, but it's always such a weird card because it's like, this is a 5-cost card. Why did you put that it can move forever on that when 95% of the time it just moves once? Like, I realize it's cooler text, but it's just like, interesting. Like, maybe that's the extent of it, right? This is cooler text, and sometimes it'll matter, and it's just cool that we have a card that does this unrestricted, and we're going to put it at 5 instead of 4 because that's where we think it needs to be for balance reasons. Totally understandable. But it is just one of those things where it's like, weird. Yeah. No, I'm saying 5 instead of 4, meaning like when you're designing the base set, you realize that like a 4-cost Vision is actually super busted, and so you're like, whatever, it's fine. We'll put it to 5 even and keep the text the same kind of deal.
Yeah, because like I look at, as I'm pulling it up here, I'm looking at the cards that are sitting at 9 that could easily justify being 10s, right? I look at something like an Arrow. I absolutely could see Arrow being a 5/10 if they're not scared of Shang-Chi being a thing. I could see Sentry going back to being a 4/10 if they're not scared of the Shang-Chi thing. Because the same thing happened any time a card went down from 10 to 9, it was like, oh, it's a buff. It's under Shang-Chi range. Or depending on the age of which Shang-Chi you're looking at when it went from 9 to 8 also. But that depends.
Your mention of Arrow there actually reminds me. I think the actual barrier to them doing that stuff is not Arrow. It's Surtur Scar. I think they're probably more concerned about that. Those cards going to 10, giving that deck more meaningful options. And I think that's actually probably a smart thing to be concerned about. Here's your segue with the way they treated Chamber and Moondragon this patch. Because I think it is very clear that if you're listening to this podcast or watching my channel, you're probably pretty plugged in. You're probably plugged into high-level players who spend a lot of time complaining about Shou Lao and Star-Lord and things like that.
Yeah.
But I've got a theory, and I don't even know if this is a theory. Like, it's technically a theory, but I just fully 100% believe it to be true. All of those decks are worse than Doom 2099 from 80th percentile MMR on down.
Yeah. I'd
100%. Like, I can't imagine it being any other way. Because people always look at these patches and they're just like, why did they make these decisions? And the people looking at these patches are, and saying that usually probably above the 80th percentile. When we talk about like standard deviations, right? How many standard deviations are you from the norm? Me, I am in this game probably 3 standard deviations above where the meat of the player base is on a population curve. I don't know. Maybe I'm 2.5, but it's a number. And actually, if you dig into the files, MMR does represent that. I actually just remembered, like the MMR measures your standard deviations. As far as I'm aware, it measures them. So like you can see your internal MMR, it goes up to like 3.5 something. And if you're like one of the people at the very tippy top of ladder, I believe that represents the standard deviations you are from the mean, which is informative in a conversation like this. Okay, here's the thing. You got to take the bottom bracket off. There's no floor on Doom 2099.
No,
it's
that's
not like
the graph. Like that's just the axes.
No. You drew 2 lines on the graph to hit the meat of the curve, right?
Yeah. The 20% below, 20% high, right?
Right. In order to represent the 2099 zone, you need to take off the lower bound. Because it's good there too.
So
no, that's not what I meant. The vertical line. Jesus.
Just erasing it. There's a lot of lines to try and draw here on an audio podcast in the mind of the people. They have to draw it with a visual description of saying there's lines and curves and there's things and stuff. And just look, Doom 2099 is good. But let me
I
fast
bring
forward.
this up mostly. I bring this up mostly to say Chamber Moondragon got 1 point of power nerfs, and you're going to see a lot of good players being like, "Why the hell did they nerf Chamber and Moondragon and not Starlord and Sholau?" Overwhelmingly, I will bet you money that the answer is where most people are. Chamber and Moondragon had better stats. I will bet you money, and I can confidently say that because there's no way for you to win that bet because you can't prove it. There's no proof that I will accept of this. But even if there was, I would make the bet that Chamber and Moondragon probably just had better stats than the cards people who actually play the game a lot think are good. Because a lot of people play this game that don't. And I find it hard to argue when someone presents that argument to me and says, "What do you want us to do? Balance for you, KM Best?" And it's like, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like it's true. I don't have access to this data, and I assume that they're not just doing shit for no reason that they know will get them shit on by a bunch of hardcore players.
What?
Because I can't imagine that there's like, seems pretty dumb. It seems like a pretty dumb thing to do. I don't think they're that dumb. So whenever something like this happens, it's like, all right, what's the logical explanation? And it always happens to decks like this. This is the third that I can just pull out of my memory. It's probably way more than that, but Darkhawk and Surtur, and now 2099, and also 2099 the first time. Like, the decks that are easier to play end up overrepresented in a field of people who don't play the game very much. And that is most people who play this game. And so they end up getting nerfed because they look like statistical outliers in the meat of the curve, where maybe they're not statistical outliers at the top end of Infinite.
You keep saying Surtur, and now I'm detouring for a half a second because I want to check a text on Surtur. Damn, it does say play the card with 10 or more power.
Also, we got to yell at Not My Dance for this. He got the text wrong on Chamber. It's 5 cost or higher.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
How
someone in my comments pointed that out.
How
bring that up. Bring that up next time you the ban list. Get on his ass. Because he propagated this false information to approximately everyone. I think we're all part of the Not My Dance shadow network. You know, we all look stupid because of this. Unbelievable.
I can't
Unless
believe
they stealth buff Chamber. Who can say?
I mean, I can. I have it on the screen, literally right there.
Interesting. So they didn't stealth buff Chamber, and Not My Dance is a prick. Well, I learned 2 things I already knew.
Yeah, he's a prick who's in Italy, and it's like, you know what? God damn it!
He's in Italy. Oh, it's just another translation error then. That's probably what it says in Italian. It probably says Quattro, dude.
Yeah, just blame localization. That's all. That's just blame localization. It's easier. So we can blame it on that. So if there's anything that Marvel Snap community is good at, it's blaming the Italians. So that's completely the truth. Now we segue, and I do want to say though, there is one other thing.
Question.
Yeah.
Aren't you Italian?
Yes.
Yeah. No further questions.
Cool. Something that I did notice within this, and I see, it's true. You can blame me. I think that this nerf to both Chamber and Moondragon is mainly for you to start as a deck builder to try to remember that Juggernaut Horseman of War exists. Because when you're lowering the ceiling on both of these cards, the way I look at it is, okay, you really want Chamber for ramp. You really want Moondragon for Doom 2099 single card. And you really want Juggernaut for everything else. Before that, Chamber was replacing Juggernaut. Now there's a bigger argument to say Juggernaut's a better card.
No, that's an angle. I like that angle. I didn't think about it. If I thought about it, I would have put that in my video. That's such a good angle. People love that little like second dinner is scheming on your wallet.
If it was a card that was currently available, yes, but I just mean it legitimately as like the 2-cost slot. They're 3 of the same card, basically. It's like big power by the final turn. Okay, what is it? How is it going to happen? When? It doesn't matter. It's just by the final turn, big power from a 2-cost card. You really want to specify which one is for what. So you have a need to have all three.
So here's the problem. Chamber wants to be in ramp decks a lot more than it wants to be in Doom 2099 decks.
Correct.
Moondragon, I think, still wants to be in both because it's very often just going to be pretty big anyway in a ramp deck, and it's fine, right? But I don't think Juggernaut wants to be in a 2099 deck because it doesn't get buffed by Aurora. And I don't think you're very guaranteed to actually get him on because you don't play any ones.
I would actually disagree because I was even going through this with Juggernaut when he first came out. And the version I was playing was the Aurora-less version. So it was just Doom and Galactus First Steps as my 2 6-drops.
Sure.
And in that style of build, like I was exercising different variations that even had like that were running Storm to really play into that single lane, big win Doom 2099 variation version. And it played better into that type of deck. But it depends on if you're really running Aurora. If you're running Aurora,
yeah, like that's
I would agree that Chamber's the better card. But if you're not,
that's largely my frustration is like
largely.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Largely.
Did I say something funny?
I don't know.
So that's largely my frustration.
Largely.
Is yes. Everything I do is largely. I'm quite large. Guest. I wish I could play Juggernaut in the one deck that actually wants to play him.
Supergiant?
No. Oh, yes, actually, but that wasn't the one I was thinking of. Aurora. Aurora.
Okay.
It's like so tailor-made for an Aurora deck, and it just doesn't work with the card Aurora. And I'm just like, come on, please. What are you going to make me do? You're going to make me play
Glenn's
Strong
gone,
Guy?
so Glenn's
maybe
gone.
they'll do it. Glenn was the one who gave that answer and said we're not putting objective on Aurora. Michael Majors? I don't know. We'll see.
Tune in next week or next OTA and we'll find out. But I to be fair, it was probably overdue for both Chamber and Moondragon. Right? They should have been 2 ones.
I'll call it overdue.
They should have been 2 ones in the first adjustment for Chamber.
I don't really think about it that way, right? Like, I think that going small increments on nerfs is correct, and it could very easily be true that these cards should have been 2 1s 2 weeks ago, but it would not necessarily follow that it would then have been correct for them to make a 2-3 into a 2-1 on the first pass on Chamber. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it could be and probably is correct to take it slow and see if it does anything to a card like Chamber and to a card like Moondragon, rather than just be like, I think we'll be a little drastic here just because I think we're going to be right about that. Like, I don't know that they can have... I don't know that there's any kind of future telling that I would trust that would make it not worth being incremental. You know what I mean? Just the chance of someone, even no matter how smart they are, being wrong about this stuff makes me feel like they should always be incremental about it.
At the same time, and the reason I've gone full screen back to us on this one, because it does open an interesting conversation, for me at least, because a lot of people look at OTAs as, I want them to kill this card, right? And it's been preached to us. You've talked about it. Glenn has talked about it. I've even talked about it at times where the right approach to be finding where the right sweet spot is, progressively move the dial down 1 power at a time, 1 cost at a time, whatever it is that needs to be done to it, 1 change at a time, 1 change at a time in small amounts till you find the sweet spot before it breaks and goes too bad. I'm going to push the other argument. I'm going to say it's actually better to kill a card and then bring it back, because of the dramatic shift it does to the meta. Not the card, the meta.
I'm going to say something that is probably going to sound insane.
As opposed to...
Right, okay. Check your content creator privilege. Like, genuinely, that is a very enfranchised take. It is the take of someone who wants to be able to make a video like, holy shit, I can't believe they did this. Or who wants to be able to play Let me finish. Who wants to be able to play a metagame that is drastically different week to week. You know, I want new experiences. I play a ton. But we've just talked about how, like, I think the average player of this game is not nearly so invested as we are, is not nearly so caught up as we are. So the things we think of, you and me, or really anyone who's listening to this probably, are as passé or played out or lame or I've seen this already. Mm-hmm. That experience is not generalizable to the massive population. It could be, but it is not necessarily. And I think that because of that instinct, because of you tend to be very drastic when you talk about OTAs, like you personally, because you want them to be big. That is how you would approach this. You would want them to be big. At worst case scenario, it'll be interesting, right? But when it comes to the cards people purchase, being cavalier with balance with regards to those cards, I would argue, is far more damaging to the trust of your players than the opposite. Being cavalier with the balance of those cards is damaging to your business model at a fundamental level. Where, you know, the downside of doing more incremental changes is players like me get bored. That's the risk you're running. The downside of doing drastic shifts to cards you released 2 months ago is that people stop buying them. And so the risk reward is just weighted the wrong way here. They are lucky enough to have a system that allows them to be incremental in ways that other card games simply are not allowed to do.
Right.
To expect every 2 weeks a game to do something as drastic as what other games have a 6-month window for is crazy. But if you look back 6 months ago, things were extremely, extremely different. And if you evaluate this game on the timeline of other games, they have way greater ability to do this thing and still get it done faster than other games without running the risk of making people feel like they got rug pulled. Like it's so crucial that their system is set up to allow them to do this, that I think it would be sort of square peg round holing it. Be like, just do something drastic every 2 weeks. I don't think that's the right thing to do in a system like this. Because again, like, who is that for? Mostly that's for us. We're the people who benefit heavily when there's an undisclosed meta. We get to be like, ooh, let's go exploring. We have every card, right? We can adapt. We have every card. We're going to be fine. There's going to be a best deck and we're going to play it. But that's not true of everybody. And I think that like that is the big thing when it comes to like wanting these to be bigger, is that it hits at a core of player trust in a way that is weighted such that it's not a bet I'd want to make if I wasn't sure.
Okay. So a couple of things in there.
Shoot.
First off, I see what you're targeting in regards to the creator mindset, but I think you're just mistargeting. No, I think it's not a creator mindset, because it's not for the purposes of me having a more wild title or a more crazy thing to talk about on this podcast. Like, we're going to find something to talk about no matter what. And we're going to be passionate about it no matter what. It's just, it is what it is.
We do. Yeah.
But I think it's more of a active player mindset. Yeah. If you're someone who is, you know, whether you're getting every card in the game or not is also irrelevant. It's a more matter of, are you getting half of the cards every month? Are you getting 3/4 of the cards every month that release? Are you playing the limited time game modes when they come out for their limited windows to get those exclusive cards? Like that kind of activity, I think, is the player that you're addressing when you're talking about this kind of targeting.
Right. But like, I do think, honest to God, I'd be surprised if being a content creator wasn't part of it. Right. Not like even consciously, just like you are more excited when big things happen because you get to do more cool shit. And part of that is that you get to stream more cool shit. Right. Like I'm not saying it's like, fundamentally dishonest of you. I'm not saying you're like out here advocating for this so you can rake in the ad dollars from YouTube. Right. Like, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is it is something that would help you. And having felt good when it happened previously probably factors into how you feel about them doing something like this. Right. And it is worth at least considering that standpoint might influence how you feel about this kind of stuff, right? Like, it's something I'm conscious of, I think, a lot, is that I have to be conscious of, like, explicitly, hey, KM, they don't balance for you. Hey, KM, you have, like, more of a vested interest in things going different than a normal person does. You want that more. I'm going to say no. And the reason is because whether they nerf a card 1 power or 2 power, it changes nothing in my routine, my amount of play, my stream schedule, my YouTube schedule as a creator. Now, there are some creators that when there are more things happening, they become more active. You know who you are. But there are other creators that I think take this in more of the long game of content creation rather than the boost part-time potential of Marvel Snap, that look at it differently and say, like, you've got your schedule, right? No, it might change which video you put out that day, but you put out a video a day. That's what you do, right? Yep. I have my schedule, I have my series, I have my stream days, and they stay consistent. You go to Regis's channel. He puts out a video pretty much almost every day, if not every day at this point. Like, different people have different schedules. So I really don't think it's a content creator aspect, because nothing about that changes. It might change which decks I build for the new card that releases because of different metas that shift. And I have to think about different metas when I'm going into those matchups. But you don't get a little bored, right? Like, you don't feel like your job gets a little easier when they do something big because there's just a more open space there. You really don't feel that? I think that there's obviously more creativity, but that also comes from the standpoint of me being a carny. And as a carny, I like to build different decks. And I like that exercise. You know what? You got my ass. Fair enough. But yeah, like it is one of those things where it's like, I think that something Glenn was particularly adept at whenever I would talk to him is being really honest about whether or not he thought I was worth listening to over the data. And spoiler alert, no, of course not. And it's something in regards to community sentiment, whether it be a specific creator that, we're fortunate enough to be able to have conversations with at times, or it's something broader, like it's just a general feeling of a very active thread on Reddit that actually, for some reason, had a reasonable conversation in it, or a Discord conversation that you see repeatedly coming up, or a team question that repeatedly comes up. You start seeing patterns in the community. It's like, okay, what's the sentiment? And look at 4 or 5 Star-Lord, right? That was a perfect example. Here's my take, though. I don't know that any of that stuff is a meaningfully accurate gauge of community sentiment. It's a sector of it. It is not the representation of it. Data. It's a sample that is extremely biased towards a certain kind of thing. I see a bunch of Discord conversation where the KM best Discord. Okay, who's in there, right? Right. What are we talking about, right? Oh yeah, I see so much conversation, and it's Derek and Honifer, like rank 3 and rank 5. It's like, okay, I can't listen to that, right? Like, it doesn't represent the masses. Data and how you filter for it
is what represents the best way to decide if you should hit Star-Lord in Sholao or Moondragon in Chamber. And
I can only assume that's what's happening here. Like, obviously, I don't know, but I don't think they're stupid. I think they know how we feel about these cards at high levels. And I think that the only reason they wouldn't do this is because the data must say that they're probably fine.
The data probably says that. The active player base says otherwise. So their solution is, let's change the text of a future card that we haven't released yet to shut up the rest of the community, because in the future, we're going to have Namorita come on out and that'll shut all of the Star-Lord people up. Because now sorry, not Namorita, wrong one. Quicksand. Sorry.
Got there.
Wrong
like,
future
what the
card.
hell?
Wrong future card. Sorry. Quicksand in the data mines. That text was completely different. And now, hey, look, this is very clearly them ghosting the card. They're saying,
I don't know. I don't know if
go.
that's necessarily true. I suspect what happened there is they had that design just chilling.
Wait.
And they
I
were
have to
like,
do this as a KM. Sorry, I have to put on my glasses to be like.
Can you do the eyebrow thing? Nice. I don't know if it's true. I am willing to believe that they were just like, yeah, we should probably put one of these in. I think largely, I have a secret theory that if they were still doing Series 4, like an extra Series 4 a month, we'd probably have that card already. Like I think a card like that is the exact kind of thing that would be in one of those slots that they cut back on. Sometimes, you can't always get what you want, but you just might get what you need. And sometimes the thing you ask for, which is release less cards a month, might cost you a quicksand on time. I don't know. I obviously don't know. But like, it does seem like one of those cards where it's like, yeah, at some point we're going to need an energy hoser. Let's just put the card in there and figure it out. And when is the fastest time we can get it? All right, let's put it on quicksand because we like all our other Series 4s and we don't have that extra slot anymore.
Speaking of 4s, let's talk about the 4-cost Wolverine Horseman of War.
Yeah, how do you feel about this? I know you had some pretty strong opinions on big dubs over here.
So prior big dubs giving the +3 sucked. The juice is not worth the squeeze, to take your words from a prior podcast. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I invented that phrasing. You're right. The CEO.
It was on this podcast to use that phrase, so I'm just repeating it. I know you didn't. I did. Though now, sure. This now as a 415 is a lot more interesting. It's a 4/7 in one lane, which is a pretty significant body. Technically more, because you've got the +2 on it as well. So
that's not how that works.
No, just like thinking about the total value of what this card is representing when it does hit the board. It goes up to you have to get it to a 4/5, which means that lane has 9 power, and then there's 4 on the others. I understand.
I just don't think it's reasonable to describe that as it's a 4/7. Like, come on, it's not a 4/9.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a 4/7. I know that the effect of it is 4/7, but
yeah,
you get what I'm saying. That the amount of points it represents on the board in some potential way, shape, or form is interesting now. And the +4 is it is, to take your phrasing, notable. And I would like to re-adventure back into this card again and even go outside of the Captain Carter simple mindset, because I actually don't think that's the play. I think somewhere in there's something else where it's an extra energy play, where it's this +3 cost play as your turn 7. Sorry, as your turn 6 kind of a thing. Like, I'm very curious to cook with this card again.
Well, I'm about to look pretty goddamn stupid because I was about to say I'm pretty excited to play this card with Captain Carter. So
no, I mean, it's a way to do it. I just don't think it's the right way to do it.
You know what?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I have to mess with the card. You're allowed to look stupid as long as I'm allowed to look stupid too.
I just feel like it's got to be a Captain Carter card. Like I don't think she's going to be like the only way to do it, but I find it hard to believe she's not the best way to do it, especially when you consider what this card does potentially buffing her. Like that part seems super compelling to me, is that it can recycle the buff into a potential hit on the Captain Carter, make her a 6 power. And like, that's really good. I don't know if he's going to be good now, but in a world where like this is now a pretty reasonable looking 4. And I got to say, I'm a little sad I didn't spring for that bundle that you're looking at right now. That variant right there. I don't know if that's the 1200 or the bundle, but
that's the 1200.
I should have got it, whichever one it was.
Yeah. Yeah. The 1200 one.
Send me one of those personalized bundles, please. I've been seeing so many screenshots of the personalized bundles. A guy on my Discord got a $5 Batroc variant with some credits. I got nothing. Yeah. I don't have a single one of those. You don't even need to make it cheap. Give me like a expensive bundle. Make me try to get that. I don't even have one of those. I don't have the Brood. I don't have nothing. I had a $75 Nightcrawler variant, and it went away, and now I don't have anything. And to be clear, wasn't going to buy a $75 Nightcrawler variant, but still.
I have a $75 Brood variant on screen with, by the way.
What's up?
What's with the weird numbers that they've been doing with some of these bundles recently? Have you noticed? It's like 7,100 gold. Not 7,000.
They shouldn't do that just because it makes you ask that question, right? Because the answer to that question is almost certainly some bullshit algorithm optimization that is designed to screw you out of as much money as possible, right? They've calculated your demand curve and you're here. And so they're going to give you a very minimal bonus where like the people getting the $5 Batroc bundles, they don't spend a lot. So we got to get them to spend. So we got this variable bundle algorithm or whatever the hell going on here. So the answer is that's the lowest amount of gold they could give you and still think they had a chance at converting you into a purchase. Almost certainly, right? What else could it be?
Sure as shit ain't that. Tell you confidently, because I ain't looking at that going, salivation. Yeah,
but what if the variant was good?
It takes more than a good variant always. I'm an economy guy.
Like what if you actually wanted this variant? Like what if it was, God, I don't really know your taste well enough, but I'm just going to like fire one in the dark here.
Sure.
What if it was like Victor Pharaoh Blink? I don't even know if there is a Victor Pharaoh Blink. I just picked an artist that I think you like and a variant that a character I think you like.
I mean, I did do the video for Blink, so that's fair.
Yeah, I think you like Blink. You very often will show me a deck, and like the part of it I won't like will be Blink.
Yeah,
I'll be like, why the fuck is the Blink here? So that's what I'm going for. That was what my guess was based on here. Like, what if it was
and that's a fair guess. Yeah.
What if it was like a sick ass awesome Blink variant that you really wanted? Would 7,100 gold get you there? They think so.
No.
They just guessed wrong on the variant.
They guessed wrong on 7,100 gold also as well. Like,
look, the algorithm doesn't lie, brother. It thinks you're cheap. It thinks they can get you in there for that 7,100 gold.
I could say with full confidence that is definitely not true in any potential.
What if it was like what if, and I'm gonna do my best impression of the guy I'm guessing commissions the variants. What if it was magic, but she's really hot?
We have a billion magic variants. I don't need.
That's what I'm getting at, right? Like they clearly love going back to that well. What if it was magic and just any picture of magic, she's going to look like a dime? They just go through and they just throw a dartboard at a collage of magic and they just put them in the game. You bought that? Nice. I did not.
For
I
me
passed on that.
Yeah, I know why you passed on it.
Yeah, because I got the more expensive one. Get flexed on.
Yep.
I got the way. I don't need no cheap show lao.
You got the consolation show lao. That's what you got.
You got the consolation show lao. I got the big baller show lao.
I got this show lao for free because I also then got 10,000 gold plus 3,000 credits plus borders.
Is that how you think about it?
Yeah, I
got the show lao for free. Because I got the $100 bundle.
I looked at the economy of what I'm spending because I want golden credits. That's what decides bundles for me.
I got my $300 whale track show out for free. It was a bonus, yes. I didn't actually buy it. It's just a free thing they gave me for being such a loyal customer. It's like a free sub after my fifth visit.
Yeah. It's a Marvel Snap punch card. That's what it is.
Yeah, I got it for free. I never spent any money on this game. It was just a web shop points bonus.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm looking at that gore and I don't think I'm going to make it. What? The gore in the web shop with the robot, the mecha gore for 300 web shop, $300, 30,000 web shop points or whatever the number is.
Oh, I don't remember. I'll pull it up on the screen.
So unbelievably good looking. And I just don't know if there's enough good bundles to get me there. I just don't know if there's enough good bundles to get me there.
What a awful problem to have for the world, really.
It's the burden of being a content creator. It's just...
Here we are. Yeah. Pull up the one that you're aspiring for, but are going to be so sad if you don't get to.
It feels iffy. It feels like an iffy. I don't think I'm going to hit it. Like I'm quite far off at the moment, and it is so cool. I used it in a thumbnail once, and a bunch of the comments were like, "Holy shit, where do I get it?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's unreleased." And they put it on the whale track, and it's like, "Oh my god." None of these people are going to get this guy.
Just like Wolverine, Horseman of War. Nobody got that guy. And now people are going, hey, maybe I want him just like you. Maybe I want that variant now.
I am. I don't want to use a naked Wolverine. I want to use the Wolverine looks cool.
I don't think anybody wants a naked Wolverine, to be completely honest.
You're right. Everyone hated Weapon X. That's just true.
Mm-hmm. I want to get your thoughts on how you feel, because you have contracted the Techno-Organic Virus.
Yeah, I got the Techno-Organic Virus, and then they buffed the Techno-Organic Virus, which really bad news for me. Just horrendous. I don't know how much work Guest is going to have to do to cut out all the sniffles out of this. I genuinely have no idea. I can't see my own mic inputs, so I don't know how many of them have made it through this. I do know that if I were in his position, and I am putting myself at his mercy by even bringing this up, I would make a compilation of the sniffles and put it at the end, and just like an extended, like minute and a half of all throughout that is what I would do if the roles were reversed and I was a competent editor, which luckily for everyone, I am not, and they are not. But I do think that, obviously I wish it hadn't happened while I had the Techno-Organic Virus, right? I wish this buff had been a couple weeks later so I could have recovered from it. But now it's just so much more effective, and I really don't know how it's going to go down for me. Now, this card is
good.
I think significantly better in basically every single use case. The floor is now higher. By what amount, we're not sure. But this is an easy, flat buff to a card that I think people really enjoyed the experience of, despite it mostly sucking. I saw a lot of people playing this card, and it was not good. And I think that now that it is slightly better, buffing a card that a lot of people are into that isn't very good and making it slightly better, that's a really good thing for them to do. This is probably my favorite change of the entire patch.
As in flavor, I'd probably agree because it's just a good.
No.
It's just, no, in the sense of it's a good card to have be relevant.
Okay. No,
Not
I just
like
think it's
mucus
awesome.
flavor. Okay.
Yes.
Like
I thought you meant like flavor as in you being sick.
No.
I think it's great. I think it's a genuinely great change to make a card that I think people were excited about despite the fact that it sucked better, because now they might actually have something worth being excited about.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Like I'm going to go back and revisit the Techno-Organic Virus decks that I wanted to build, but couldn't because it was going to be way too expensive to also then try to factor in Black Swan and
Mobius.
in addition Mobius or Quinjet or whatever. I want to build a Techno-Organic Virus bounce deck. Like I want to build something that bounces with Werewolf, that kind of like crazy throw things all over the place kind of deck. I think that's going to be stupid fun. And that's the first place I'm going to go post this OTA is I'm going to sit down and really reinvest back into this card because I think it's unique enough that if we can find a way, now that it's only +1 cost each time, if we can find a way to make this, you can play down 4 of these easily per game. Yeah, you're going to want to build a deck with this regularly, and it's going to be, +12 for that investment. That's pretty damn good in each lane. So I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it makes this card a much more realistic dream to hit. I think that Techno-Organic Virus's natural restrictions, wanting so many 1-drops, wanting a bunch of other things that help you cheat energy and its own thing, I think that combined with its linearity sort of holds it back from ever being like the best deck. Like weirdly, I think the real chance this card has at being part of the best deck is if like Sauron Supergiant breaks out as the best version of Supergiant, which I know I've made the comparison before, but they used to call The Rock in Hollywood franchise Viagra because you'd give him,
right.
you'd put him in whatever movie and it would just do better, right?
Right.
That's Supergiant for any package that isn't going multiplicative right now. If you're like a normal ass deck, Darkhawk, Ronin, Devil Dinosaur, Ozymandias, whatever. If you're just like some normal...
Oh, no. Hold on. All you did was name the good ongoing 5-cost cards.
Okay. Viv Vision, Iron Patriot, Ascani's Son. I can name other cards. If you're just like a normal ass deck... I'm proud of me too.
It should be.
If you're just like a normal ass deck and your big problem in the metagame is people keep comboing over the top of me, Supergiant 3-card package, put it in there. I actually think that like Batroc Supergiant is hidden OP right now because just being a Supergiant, quite good into a bunch of other stuff. The normal Supergiant deck has cut Shadow King and it is like doing tempo non-scalar based stuff. So as the deck with scalars, you have much greater control over who has priority in the Supergiant mirror. Your scalars are bigger than their non-scalars. It seems pretty good to me. Having played 0 games of it, just sort of looking at the metagame being like, what seems good right here? Mm-hmm. Definitely something that sticks out to me as like, might be pretty good.
I would love for this to be regularly decent in the meta. I just think it's ironically, a healthy card for Marvel Snap because it's fun. It's got good play patterns. It's it's a good interaction card, unlike Hela, which I just briefly want to discuss because
How'd you do that?
But I do what?
Oh, you had them both on screen for a little bit?
Yeah.
Oh, you have multiple? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I have layers. Hela
like
now,
an ogre?
No. Well, yeah, actually, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah. I almost missed my own joke that I was going to read into and then found my way. It was a tough journey. Hela now getting this buff.
I don't think this matters. I'm sorry. I saw someone describe it as the second most impactful buff in the OTA, which hilarious.
No,
too far. No chance.
Yeah, no, too far. But it does change how you build your Hela decks, in my opinion. I think you really do want to have only Ghost Rider as your only 4-cost card, and then build more 6s back into it again.
I think that if you're playing Danish Hela, I really don't want to lose out on Supergiant right now.
That's fair.
Because
for Danish Hela,
you are so dead to the exponential stuff. Like, yeah, like, cool, nice Hela that you got like Eliath 85 times and died. It's like, all right, my bad. Like,
yeah,
I think that if you're playing that kind of Hela deck, you're not cutting Supergiant, because if you do, you just get, you know, pounded in the butt by 2 Star-Lords created by Arnim Zola, written by Chuck Tingle.
Yeah,
it's not easy to win that matchup without Supergiant, and I think that you are probably someone who should respect that matchup if you're going to play Hela right now.
I just don't think Hela is worthwhile playing in general right now, but it is something that when Hela does become, because it comes in and out of the meta regularly, when it does come back, whenever that time is, it will come back in a different form because of this specific change.
I don't want to be weird, but like, is something going on? I'm not wearing my glasses, so this might just be me. Is something going on with her abdomen in that? She looks very insectoid. And I don't know, maybe I've just never noticed it, but like in the picture, it's just like a very, like,
in like the base variant
abdomen. Yeah, look. Like, am I, like, it just looks a little. Yeah, like look at the definition on the abdomen there, the thorax. Yeah, she looks like Cell. What is going on?
Hela has a fupa?
Dude, what? I think she's got a tail, and it's just like in there, like Cell, right? That's just where it's stored.
What happened to this podcast?
Was it ever not this? Also, is that really the variant of Hela you use? Okay, I was gonna say.
No, that is. No, I was okay. Putting it back. This is my custom that I
saw the prism, and I was like, what the hell?
No, I scrolled down to the base variant.
Sure.
Yeah. That's all on the other side.
One of those splits from like early in the day, you know.
Yeah,
that's a split from 2023 right there. First split of Hela. Guest gaming.
Vomit Hela. Ugh.
Yep.
But Proxima did things. Oh, the cost group is also interesting to talk about, just because we wanted the US agent change for a while. A lot of people understood that. Iron Patriot just got much better, because now it has the chance of getting Fin Fang Foom, a Dormammu, which is a 4/13. It might have gotten
worse, because 4 is really expensive for a card you're looking to play. Like a lot of Iron Patriot decks, you don't want to play a thing that costs 4 basically ever. Like if you're looking at down the barrel of a 4-cost card in your Moon Girl deck, you're just not playing that card. Like, I got a Scar. Yeah. This is not happening. Like, that is not happening. A Moon Girl deck, yeah, Fin Fang Foom's a little busted, but like
in a Moon Girl deck, it would be 3, because you're always playing Quinjet.
With the Quinjet, sure. But like, yeah, I kind of think that like you kind of gotta get the card you're getting to 3, and it actually is like pretty meaningful that there's like some really ass 4s that you're gonna hit with this. Like you're gonna hit Arashem off of this, and you're gonna be like, I hate this card. This did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and this is something else too that we can yell at Not My Dance about too, because it really threw me off while recording my OTA video. The fact that he has the categories split, like you have the Crimson Cosmos half and then the Big House half. The Big House half is supposed to have the cards that affect the 4, 5, and 6. And he's got Man-Thing in that.
Got column. Malekith over there. Yeah.
And Man-Thing should have been swapped with the Iron Patriot. It's fucking bothered me so much because it threw me off.
Like
trying
the
to
Italian
describe it.
translation. The Italian translation is probably just different. All right.
It's the man thing, yeah, it's supposed to be a Crimson Cosmos. It was an intentionally bad Italian translation.
Oof.
I was going for full on Chef Boyardee.
You got there, brother. You got all the way to Mario. The one thing that actually does matter, I think, here is zeros won't go in Crimson Cosmos anymore.
Yeah,
and
that sucks.
I think I will pair this with a. They should just make Crimson Cosmos more rare. That location sucks shit. Get it out of here.
It's fucking awful. It is.
It's just so bad.
It is the only location we have ever brought up on the ban list because we basically never talk about other things to ban when it comes to like cards and locations. However, Crimson Cosmos was specifically brought up as one because it is just the most unfun location to have to play around because of how
just make a location that says 4 and higher cost get +4 power here or something,
Yeah.
If you want to advantage people playing big cards, you can do that in a different way.
Yeah.
Like just Nidavellir, but it only applies to things that cost 4 or more. You did it. Proud of you, right? Like,
yeah. Big House isn't as bad. Big House isn't as bad.
Big House is fine, but it's just like, wow, man. Crimson Cosmos so often is just, it adds up to I can't play cards a lot of the time. And that's just a really, I don't think it's wrong to have things that massively favor one type of deck. I do think I would prefer that it favored that type of deck in terms of power output rather than in terms of ability to play the game.
I would take it even further and say I'd rather just Sanctum Sanctorum just come up twice as often.
Oh, you're going to jail, brother. I am putting you in the big house for that take. That is horrendous. Get that shit out of here.
No, you would rather deal with Crimson Cosmos.
Yes, at least I can play a card there. What the hell? Any day of the week.
I would rather go to a tiebreaker game than throw a Crimson Cosmos retreat because I built a deck that basically can only play like Serra in there and that's it.
Get in the comments.
You know what I mean?
This is just something the comments are going to have to solve. Get in the comments.
Aggressive point of anger.
I
appreciate it.
I'm ripping off Brennan Lee Mulligan as I want to do.
It's what you do typically, and that's completely fair and fine.
Well,
what else happened?
I wish more people watched Dropout. I wish more people watched Dropout.
I think Dropout thinks that wants that
understand. Too. Well, so that people would understand how much of my jokes are just purely copied. I did the intro to Hot Takes is just what Mike Trapp does did if he Wadaway does it now on actually, which is actually how I got introduced to Dropout content. Was they were all on YouTube for some reason. Like a bunch of seasons of actually were on YouTube. It was free, and I am exactly the pedantic nerd that show is made for. It's made for me. This is a show for me. That's who it's for. And that's what ended up getting me to subscribe. I subscribed to Dropout. I watched the first episode of Dimension 20 Fantasy High. Brendan Lee Mulligan made the greatest GM move of all time that I have ever seen in my entire life, and then I was hooked. That's pretty much how it went down. Oh no, I had this in between that. There was a bunch of Game Changer that I watched, but yeah, largely that's how it went down. The stuff that was on YouTube got me. Their content thing worked. This is a long way of saying, if Iwadiwe, go to the gym with me. That's it. That's really all I wanted to say.
So Archangel, let's switch gears here. Archangel Horseman of Death, was a card, and it was a card for destroy kind of, and it just feels off. Like it feels like how Wolverine felt. I feel like we're going to get a buffed version of this card in 2 weeks.
I just feel like you got to aim lower on a card like this. Like if you just set your expectations to like, this
playable?
Is a 2/7.
Well, no, I just want it to be playable.
Just be like, this is a 2/7 and then play it in whatever death mid-range deck. and it's like totally fine. You just
I
be
want it
like,
to
this is a
be-
2/7.
I want it to be
That's
viable in more than just traditional destroy. That was my conclusion
I
on it.
played it in Death,
Yes.
Mill, whatever. I did
Ish,
really well
yeah.
with it. This guy was relevant like 3 games out of 25, or however many it was. But when he was relevant, it was like, oh, that's a 2/7. That's a 2/10. Just like a pretty
Right.
big guy. It's like, I wouldn't say I was disappointed in him per se. But it's honestly one of those cards where it's like, I think people are way more down on how bad he is, where it's like, I don't think he's bad. He's just not good. And that's a very different thing. And if you gave this card, like, say, Resurrect the highest power one, he'd probably be really good.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
I think
If it
that
had
card
targeting,
is really
yeah.
good. Yeah, like this card is not as far off, I think, as people seem to act like it is. People are acting like it's like the worst piece of shit of all time. Oh God. And it's like,
Not that bad, but it's pretty bad.
it's like, no, it's not good, but it is perfectly respectable. This card is not going to lose you games. Like, it is a perfectly reasonable card. There are probably 150 cards that do less points of power on average for the cost.
Yes, I would agree with that. Definitely. But
It's definitely not good. But like, the reason I bring this up is because there's a crisis of hyperbole in Marvel Snap, where people refer to things in ways that are, I guess you'd call them colloquially true, because there's a degree to which hyperbole is sort of the language of the internet, the language of gaming in particular, right? This is broken. This is busted.
We speak
This
in
is
extremes.
awful. This is unplayable, right? Like, and I am the first person to admit that I'm guilty of this. But I think it really comes out when it comes to evaluating new cards, right? What is the name of your new card series?
Good or garbage.
Yeah, there's things in between that, right? Like, and that's the problem, right? It's nobody's actual fault or responsibility to deal with. But it is something that comes up when a card like this, because I think if you just read community sentiments about this card, you'd come to the conclusion that it's like worse than normal Angel. You know, you'd be like, this is horrendous. And even trying to put it in your deck is a mistake. And like, yeah, I think it makes base destroy worse, but you can put it in that, you know, death mid-range deck and it'd be totally fine. Like, it's a pretty niche card, but it was probably better than Firehair in that deck. And Firehair is like a card people kind of respect. And I guess I just sort of think like, this card is like a 2 out of 5. People are acting like it's a 1 out of 5.
I don't think it's a 1 out of 5.
It's a little like, it's not worth getting. To be clear, my basic floor is like, if the card is below a 4 out of 5, it's probably not worth getting. That's sort of how I think about this stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's fine, but it is just like, I do think this card is like a little better than people are giving it credit for. And like, some of the suggestions that you see reflect this hyperbole. A lot of people talk about Star-Lord, and they're just like, the suggestion they have for Star-Lord is just like obliterated off the face of the earth, basically. And the suggestion they have for something like this is make it way too good. And I think the hyperbole plays into that a lot, is that like, you'll see that kind of stuff.
Irrational people, I would agree with in that sense, where they'll say on a Star-Lord conversation, nerf it into the ground. I literally had a short come out today of me just saying, you know, this card needs to die. For Star-Lord, just it needs to die, it needs to die, it needs to die. And
that's a valid, you're allowed to feel that way.
Right. And because we've had it for several months, we've had different iterations of it, and it is a cockroach at this point. Star-Lord, master of the shitheads. Like it is a cockroach at this point.
You get his ass, man. Jeez.
Yeah, it is bad.
Can you say that on a podcast? You're so brave.
You said the word fuck in the first 40 seconds.
You're so brave, man. I can't believe you jeopardize your second dinner funding like this.
Should we rewind the tape to earlier in the pod?
I can't believe you'd put the Golden Gauntlet in danger by being such a brave truth teller like this. That's really admirable, man. It's really admirable.
It's the reason we have the Golden Gauntlet, because I speak the truth. With Archangel on the other end of it, though, with Archangel, and I realized this post recording the Good or Garbage video, I think I compare this way more back to Fenris Wolf, where if I'm going to try to do a revive to get a card back onto the board, I would rather spend the 3 to then play 1 card to revive it, right? Just like if you play, fastball special, adamantium infusion, you're spending 4 for the single card revival. You don't have to kill 4 things to then get 1 of them back with a little bit of extra power. If I'm doing a revive, that's why I liked it in the classic destroy decks, because the thing I was reviving was always more destroy cards, which would continue the cycle back. Like, that was the purpose of the card. But outside of that, the purpose of this card is nothing. And I think back to Fenris Wolf, where if I'm going to do a resurrect, I want it to be meaningful. And the only way that I saw Archangel actually be meaningful was when the mechanic benefited me, because I was doing multiple destroys. It was cycling the destroys by doing that.
Yeah, I would be risky on this card if I were to buff it. And I would say, because the wording here is a little bit iffy, I would say resurrect the strongest card in your graveyard with +4 power. Not the strongest destroyed card. Maybe that would convey it, but I think the risk you run there is like, if the strongest destroyed card was like a Wolverine or whatever, it'll target the Wolverine instead of the actual card you want to revive. Yeah. So yeah, I think you got to be really specific with how you word and code it.
It would be
if you can do that,
2-parter. Yeah, it would be a 2-parter. Resurrect your strongest power card here. Give it +4 power. You know what I mean? Like,
but I don't think I don't think it could say resurrect your strongest power card here. That's the problem. I think
resurrect means it has to be in the graveyard. That's what resurrect stands for. It has to come from the graveyard.
I guess if we're gonna say that that's good enough shorthand, that like that conveys it, I'm
it
good.
Does for like if adamantium and Phoenix Force.
Sure. I mean, like I worry that it is a non-intuitive mechanic, but you're right. It does that on this card currently. So I guess maybe I'm worrying about nothing. Anyway, that's what I would do. If I wanted to be risky with this card, I'd be like, it just brings back the strongest thing.
Yeah, card maybe with the most power or something. Yeah.
Yep. It just brings back the strongest thing. Resurrect the strongest one here with +4 power. That's what I'd do.
It could be fun, but I'm more excited, I think, for next week with Polaris, because it'll be a card that I get. It'll suck after about an hour. Week? Yeah, because then Luke Cage comes out again. It's exactly the lean in on that is. Yeah. It's what happens with affliction cards. You get to play it for an hour and then you realize everybody starts playing Luke Cage, and then you stop playing it for a week and then you come back to the card later on. It's always it's leftovers.
I actually think Polaris is like a really well designed card for that deck. Like she really addresses some meaningful issues with that list. And it's like, man, I wish that mattered. Man, I wish that mattered at all to my decision to play the deck. I think I already did my rant about what role Afflict has in metagames as a sort of like anti-tech mid-range kind of deck, right? Like this is the kind of deck that's like particularly good against Supergiant or whatever, because it just numbers the shit out of you and works across multiple lanes and does a bunch of back buffs and has a bunch of big guys and just generally shits on your interactive tech game plan, right? It'll do that more. Like that's a deck you're gonna beat the shit out of if you're playing like Ajax Polaris. You're putting them in the trash can, give or take. Supergiant's interaction with this card being, obviously horrendous. That said, it's just one of those things where not enough of the metagame is that to allow the deck to be good, even if Luke Cage wasn't doing that, which makes me sad because I wish it was, maybe, you know what? Maybe the solution, like it is with every other one of these packages, we just got to put a Supergiant package into the Ajax deck, buddy.
I can see it.
There's just too many good 4s in the Ajax deck, but I bet we can do it. I bet the more cards like this we get, the easier it becomes to actually make that decision, because so much of the power is currently 4s. Distribute that power somewhere else. Give me some good 3s, some good 2s. Suddenly, I got franchise Viagra. You know,
are you willing to throw yourself into the fire and present that to the world? The Ajax Supergiant deck.
In what sense throw myself into the fire? In the sense that I just said it on a podcast? Yes.
No, in the sense of like build it and play it. Like,
oh, I mean, I will day one. That's going to be a deck I play. Yeah. Like it's a cop out though. Like,
but you'll build it.
I mean, someone else will probably get to it first. They typically play pretty late on day ones, but I can't imagine it'll be that difficult.
So you're a carny too.
In what sense am I a carny here? Because
you're, creating decks and you're building decks.
Is that what carny means? Man, I got to go apologize to some people.
It's literally your own words.
I gotta go apologize. I gotta go apologize to people. No, dude, I saw people there. That's a lie. I saw 2 people in the comments who were like, damn, KM's coming for everybody.
Yeah.
Just like, no, I fucking am not. Like, it's ridiculous. What are you talking about?
It's like,
I'm critiquing
do you know him?
I'm critiquing one specific annoying thing. This to me is on the level of like, I'm very Larry David, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to not complain about some shit. It's there in much the same way as like people will like complain about my dumbass clickbaity thumbnails. Totally valid. Like, yo,
but it works.
They are that. I can't argue with you. That is what they are. And you have every right to complain about them. That's the deal. Unfortunately, I don't like making those faces any more than you seemingly like looking at them. And that's all I was really trying to get at is like, here's a thing that annoys me. And now it's like I'm firing shots. Never fired shots in my life.
I got to send you some old graphics then from when I first started streaming back in 2020. And I used to have a segment and I made and cut out all the assets for it. And I turned my whole studio into a green screen setup where I was behind the desk in Family Guy and I did it grind my gears.
Grind my gears. Yeah. Yeah.
I got to send you all those so you can do it just a full layover of, what really grinds my gears, and just go to town.
Please do. I will use that. I will absolutely do that. All right. The joke is even older now, which to me makes it funnier.
Yeah. That's fair. Full on grinding gear sprocket style to go Jetsons era.
Yeah, I was scrolling Twitter the other day and I saw a video of, Lois and Chris. No. It was Lois and Chris doing Fetty Wap. And the Lois going, I got a Glock in my Rari.
Somebody please edit that right there of KM doing a Lois Griffin saying I got a Glock in my
Lois Griffin
as like a, I know, but I want it as a sound alert now just because anytime you should appear into the chats randomly, you should just play. I got a Glock in my.
Oh my God. It was a horrible Lois, but yeah, like I it was really funny. I particularly enjoyed it. Yep. Anyway, do we have other topics today, or can I go watch the season finale of The Pit?
Go for it. Yeah. I got nothing. I'll just say right. We're done. So yeah,
this is where he puts the Sniffles supercut if he decides to do it.
Yeah. I got a new puppy. I'm so tired.
Too much effort. I feel you.
I need to sleep.
Yeah, no, that's reasonable. All right. Have a good one.
Peace, man. Have a good one.